Good morning, guys. So today is going to be some new projects that are not shop related projects. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is we're going to be doing some things to the carport area. I'll show I basically rebuilt a new deck on the back side of the house to match the front side of the house. I didn't really show any of that building. So I'll go ahead and show that. I think I might have showed a couple little quick shots of it, but and then I'm going to be building basically like a gardening table type area, and then we're also getting a outdoor sink that we're going to be putting in. Will be right next to the gardening table area, and then it's also a big enough sink that we can give the dogs baths. They are outside dogs, but they get kind of stinky, so we still want to give them baths once in a while. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video, and then also starting preparation for the shed conversion. So we're going to be finishing the shed out that I built about 2 years ago now. And that's going to become a studio for my wife. So since all the stuff that was in there has now been kind of moved into the shop, that's now open space. So we're going to finish it out and make it nice, and that will probably be a different video, but I'll show a little bit of it. So thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in, and let's get to work. Okay, so this is the back deck. I basically built it the exact same way, and then of course we got concrete poured in the carport. That was a while back. I think I showed that in one of the videos. And it's a constant battle of cleaning chicken poop off. One of the next things is going to be getting the paddock built in the back, and then the chickens, turkey will all be back there, so we don't have to worry about chicken poop everywhere. It's so awesome. So anyway, this deck was built basically mirroring what I did on the front deck, the front lanai. When we poured the slab for this, I actually put in piers. As you can see right there, there's piers that are actually coming up. And then same 6x6 posts, Trex decking. Still have not built the stairs yet because we need to get more Trex ordered for that. But that will tie in, I guess, when we get to a point where we're going to do our next section of the deck in the front. So that might be a while, I don't know when. But anyway, this has a 6x6 beam going up there, tied into the carport rafters. And then the beam that was supporting, which is this big 4x12, I guess is what this is. I ended up cutting, you can see right here. So I cut that off when we did this. Now I'm getting ready to remove this section. And then I actually built a bench, if you can see. So I basically took the section that I cut off, I made 2 legs and then made a bench. So kind of cool little heavy duty bench. And then with the piece that I take off here, we're gonna do a bigger bench that we're gonna put on the front deck, just for, you know, when people come over, they have a place to sit. So what I'm going to be working on now is I have some 4x4s, and I'm going to be running those up, attaching to these rafters, one on the inside of either side here, and then they're going to get anchored into the ground here, into the concrete. And then I'm basically going to be, I got to move all of this wood pile and all this stuff, and then I'm basically going to be building a box going to the house, from the post to the house, and then it'll be covered, and that's going to be the garden workstation. And then this area here is where the tub is going to go, or the big sink. We had the washer and dryer hookups here, so we'll have hot water, cold water here, and then there's already a drain and everything there, so I just got to plug it all in. That is on its way. I ordered it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description if I remember. So next step here is going to be getting these 4x4s in place, getting them marked out, and then getting them attached up here, and then removing this big beam. This may be a little tricky here because there is some electrical running through. So there's an outdoor outlet here, and it actually runs into this beam and then comes up on the back side there. So I'm going to have to pull that electrical back And then I'm gonna reroute that and then bring it down here so that we have an actual outlet here if we need it for anything. But I'll put one of the enclosure lids on it, you know, the outdoor enclosures for electrical plugs basically. So that's what's going to be happening in this area. And then on my FJ, you can see there's a bunch of drywall, and then that is going to be for the formerly shed is going to get converted. I'll just do a quick walkthrough on this. We got our flooring that we're going to be putting in here. But you can see that this is pretty much emptied out. Just have the chicken feed here. We have our weights and stuff for exercising when we do that. Some bikes, fishing poles, miscellaneous stuff. So the rest of the stuff will get pulled out, and then this whole area is going to be getting finished out. So I'm going to have to run some electrical in here, add a couple outlets. I'm going to add lights. A light switch inside the door. On this side over here is going to end up being kind of like a countertop with some cabinets below. Possibly going to put a sink in here, I don't know, just like a small sink. And then the rest of this is just going to get finished out, drywall, flooring, drywall on the roof or on the ceiling. So, but that's going to be its own set of videos. So I'm going to get started on this. I had already put a coat of paint on the 4x4s, so now I'm basically going to just get them placed and mark out my spots where I need to drill my anchor holes. All right, so that's done. If you were paying attention, you saw that I had a lot of trouble with this anchor here. It ended up not going in quite far enough. I didn't drill it deep enough. I didn't even check it, but so that's my own fault. But anyway, once those are in, you can't really pull them out. And when I tried to hammer it, I didn't have the nut on there. It messed up the top. Anyway, I ended up having to cut the top off, file it, so that the nut would go back on and then put it back on. Anyway, lots of cussing in that time lapse. But it's done now. It's anchored at the top and at the bottom, and I am going to get some bigger headlocks to put in the top. Right now it's just 3-inch construction screws. But that's going to be it for today, I think. And of course I have no plan for this. It's all just in my head, but it's pretty simple, so. All right, so you saw in the time lapse, I got this tub put together, and this thing is good size. It's 24-inch by 40-inch. I ended up putting the faucet on this side. You can kind of put it anywhere in here. There are some support ridges on the back, so you just gotta put it in between those spots. I put it on this side because my water hookups and drain and everything are here, so that way it would be closer. I have the wood pile moved, just relocated it kind of over there. So now I'm going to start building the box frame for the garden table and just do that. You hot, buddy? Yeah. So hot, huh? All right, so in that time lapse, you saw me build the table. And basically what I did is I spaced the 2x4 down about 3/4 of an inch or so, basically so that the Trex that I'm going to put on here will sit inside the frame. And I only have, I think, I have 2 pieces of Trex left, which are 12 foot. So I should be able to get 6 Trex boards in here. And then I had one other one that I think is long enough that I'll get a 7th. So I'm going to do the first 7 boards will be in Trex. And then the back, I'm actually going to use the old deck, what used to be here before I rebuilt that. So I'm going to take the wood off of that deck, and then I'm going to do the back a little bit here, whatever's left, and then I'm also going to build a shelf in here. So I'm going to try and use all the old, you know, porch decking for that. Not sure exactly how it's going to look right now. I'll figure that out as I go. At this point though, all of this needs to get painted before I start putting the Trex down. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I will come back when it's done. Okay, also I ended up dropping this beam down. So all I did for right now is I just cut it right there, as you can see, and then I used a strap on one side to catch it, and then just lowered it down onto the table. I was hoping to use this piece to make another bench, but looking at it, it looks like it's kind of rotten. So I'll have to check it out more, but right where the carport meets the roof, we do get leaks in here because it's not a solid piece of metal. The carport is just butted up against the roof, so yeah, we do get dripping in here. That's something, you know, on the list of things to fix. So we'll see how this turns out down the road. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I cut off the copper pipes. Those were the ones that were mounted right here onto the wall. That's where the washer and dryer hooked up before. And then I bought these at Home Depot, which basically this is a shark bite fitting. So it has a valve on it. It pushes right onto the copper. All you got to do is clean the copper off with some sandpaper. Not too much though. You want to just clean off the surface. And then this gets pushed right on. And then the other end has the fitting on it that will go right into the sink. So I'm going to get that going. And then for the drain down there, I bought the drain attachment. So this will just plug right into that. And then all of the piping for the drain from the sink will plug into this. So that's what I'm working on now. All right, so now I'm up under the sink. So I got this piece glued in. Has the slip fitting here, which is where this piece goes into. So basically all you do is you just push this in, and then you tighten this down. I'm gonna wait until I get all this set up though. And then here, you just have to, there's like a lip right here, if you can see here. So you wanna cut your vertical pipe coming down to that, about that spot, maybe a little above, so that it actually slides down inside this pipe. So I'm going to mark this and cut it, and then it's just screwing everything together. It's pretty simple. All right, so the sink is completely set up now. And of course, the first thing that I did was give the dogs a bath. So we have hot water, cold water here. This sink, I will eventually attach it to the wall somehow. Right now it's not attached to the wall. So just for it to be more sturdy, I want to actually attach it to the wall. So that's probably going to be some kind of a bracket underneath here that goes to the wall or something like that. I'll have to figure it out later. But it is up and running. The dogs are smelling a lot better. I don't think that they've had a bath in probably a year. So that's done. Now what I'm going to focus on is the installing the Trex, which I already cut all the pieces. And it ends up that I actually have enough Trex to cover this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of Trex and I'm going to use that as a spacer. So that's about 3/4 of an inch, because I want to have bigger gaps on here than what's on like a deck. Let's say decking is usually about 1/4 inch to maybe 3/8 spacing. So I want this to be a little bit bigger so that if we hose this area off, if there's dirt on here or whatever, then it'll be able to get through fine. So I'm going to get started on this right now. All right, now that is done. Yeah, it's kind of wet. I hosed off the area because chicken poop everywhere. I don't want to be stepping in it. All right, so the gardening table is done and complete. Oh, run, little buddy, run. Yeah, one of our mini pets. So the gardening table is complete now. I think I'm going to hold off on whatever shelf I'm going to do here because I want to wait and have my wife really decide on what she wants there before I go and try and build something and then she doesn't like it and I have to rebuild it. So the last thing that I'm going to do in this video is I want to pull this electrical wire out and then remove this post. So I'm going to go grab my meter and some screwdrivers and pull this apart, check it, make sure there's no voltage, and then go ahead and pull that wire back. Okay, I'm starting to pull this apart, and a lot of this wood was rotted. So it's just kind of breaking off in pieces. So I'll continue pulling this off and then get this wire pulled back. I have the power turned off at the breaker, so I'm good there. And yeah, I just gotta get this pulled back. All right, so the wires are removed. Now it's time to remove the post. Oh, that was easy. Okay, I have the wire pulled all the way back. You can see it coiled up there temporarily. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish removing the staples back up to this point, and then I'm going to run the wire this way, and then I'm going to drop it down here. And I went to Home Depot this morning and I got the electrical stuff I need to finish this out. So I'm going to start working on that now. What I'm going to attempt to do is drill a hole at the top and then drop the wire down inside the wall and then have it come out where the box is going to be. Just so there's not a wire running down the wall. It'll just look better. Even though that's not like, you know, you're supposed to anchor the wires down inside the wall, but I'm not ripping open the whole wall for that. All right, the wire is now routed over. I have it running through a hole in the wall there. I filled it in with caulking. It's running down here, and then I have the box cut out so that I can mount this box in there. And then I have the waterproof enclosure and then a GFI switch, GFCI switch, outlet, not switch. So I'm gonna put all this together and then I think I'll be about done. Alrighty, that is done. And then as you can see, I got the breaker back on, so the GFI outlets, the newer ones anyway, they have that little green LED down in the corner. So that's an easy way to tell if it's working. And then if the GFI trips, it actually turns red, I believe. So that way you know that it tripped. So, done. It's kind of hot today too, even though it's not super sunny, it's warm. So I'm like sweating already. But I think that's going to be it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Pretty much everything is done over here that I wanted to get done. The sink is installed, it's hooked up, the drain's hooked up, the table's built, the electrical outlet got moved. The only thing I really have to do is up here, I need to touch up the blue paint up there and then also blue paint on the top of the posts. Otherwise, everything else is painted. May do some touch up, you know, along the wall. There's like a couple spots that are kind of dirty looking, I don't know. But the outlet is up, and then down the road, of course, I'm gonna put some kind of shelving here once the wife tells me what she wants to have there. I think we're gonna go with like 2 shelves maybe, and probably a bracket mounted to the wall. Originally I was gonna build it up off the table, but I don't think that's gonna happen now because it's gonna kind of make the table wider. So I think we're gonna do brackets and then just pieces of wood going across the brackets, something like that. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm going to start immediately on the next project, which is going to be converting the shed into studio space. All right, I'll see you guys on the next video. Aloha.